Bienvenidos a este nuevo vídeo de Devir TV. Hoy estamos aquí en la Ciudad de México, algo increíble, en el hotel donde nos alojamos, de hecho aquí en el Bel Air, al lado de la Mega XP, en un sitio tranquilito, y hemos decidido que hoy era un gran día para mantener una conversación con dos personas maravillosas, como no, Kim Dorca. ¿Qué tal, Kim?
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cuánto tiempo sin verte?
Sí, y por primera vez en Devir TV, el grandísimo autor Jason Matthews. Hello, Jason, how are you?
Hi, good morning. Nice to see you guys.
Bueno, como sabéis, Jason Matthews es un autor súper querido en la casa, principalmente conocido por haber creado Twilight Struggle, que además tenemos sorpresas en la Mega XP respecto al juego, pero bueno, es una persona increíble que hoy aprovecharemos para conocer más a fondo y mantendremos aquí pues una conversa distendida los tres. So, first of all, guys, how are you? Are you having fun in Mexico?
Well, it's not fair to say it, but we organized the Mega XP here just to make the excuse for me to come every year to Mexico and have some tacos and be friends with all these fantastic people. Yes, you, Jason.
Yes, I think if you're not having fun in Mexico, you're dead already.
That's a very, very good answer. So, Jason, I was checking about the Twilight Struggle because, well, you know, it's a super important game for our company. We have reprinted it 10 times. 10 times. It's evergreen. A lot of people loves it. We always play it all the time. And I saw that, well, it's from 2005, and it was the number one on the BGG for 5 years. So many people maybe don't know it, because it's not easy to find the number ones of BGG on the last time. How makes you feel to have been the creator of a game like this?
Well, like everyone else, I think if you do something, this is my first game, and so you feel a little lucky, right? What else could it be? It's a little bit of timing was right. At the time that Twilight Struggle came out, 9/11 had just happened in the United States, and there was a weird nostalgia for the Cold War because the new modern world seemed chaotic compared to the competition between us and the Soviets that we all understood. So in the United States, there was this kind of feeling like, oh, can we go back? And that seemed to appeal to gamers at that exact moment when the game came out. And also, there had always been a lot of games about the Cold War as imagined, like, oh, the Third World War that was going to happen when Warsaw Pact came into Germany or invaded in some other part of the world. But there had not been a lot of games about the Cold War that we experienced. And so there was a niche that we kind of filled with Twilight Struggle.
And I would also like to ask you, Kim, because I know there's a fun story there with Twilight Struggle, because Devir released it at a young age for the company.
I mean, going back to those days, I mean, Xavi Garriga and I think all the Devirians, we are in this business because we love to play and we love this kind of stuff, no? And as everybody already knows, we are wargamers. And we did the España 36, but we felt, do we have the guts to publish war games or thematic, historically games related with that? And knowing that Twilight Struggle was so popular all around the world, but as you told me last night, the Spanish have no direct emotional link with the Cold War, because they were living great times under Franco that everybody now is saying that. It's so, oh my God. Well, and Xavi told me, Xavi came and said, so, Dorca, do we do Twilight Struggle? Hostia puta. Xavi. Well, okay, we are not dead already, no? We are still selling, we can pay the wages. Don't tell nobody, but let's do it, hold my beer. and we did it, and it went very well. It's a great game. It's a great experience for 2 players. It's very solid. Still goes to my tabletop from time to time, and yes, the only thing I would say is never play that game online with Roberto Di Meglio from Ares. He's a shark.
Well, in fact, we are planning a Catalan edition.
Yes. We are playing a Catalan edition, and because sometimes when we have a very solid game that has been selling for years, we do a Catalan version, and that's something that we put it in the 500 project in our website. We think we have enough people interested in that, so we're going to go for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely need a Catalan card.
Yes.
Well, talking about special cards, we have 2 of them that are like promo cards that you can find here at Mega XP exclusively. And Jason, I know that you did them like a gift for Mexican players. Why you chose those 2?
So Mexico has an interesting history in the Cold War. They, of course, maintained very close relations with the United States throughout the Cold War, in spite of the fact that they also had close relations with Fidel Castro's Cuba. And they were members of the Organization of American States, which is expressly anti-communist, but they had an ongoing communist party throughout the entirety of the Cold War. So there's a duality to Mexico's participation in that history, and these cards kind of express that duality. Fidel Castro and Che Guevara met here in Mexico, and this is where their friendship developed. And so there's a card about that, the cradle of the revolution, this one's called. And then, unfortunately, as America is wont to do, our intelligence services, in cooperation with the Mexican intelligence services and police, rounded up communists and detained. Many people went missing, as happened throughout Latin America, and this is a card about that.
Well, it's fantastic to have Mexican cards because, as you know, for the exile, for the Spanish Civil War, Mexico was one of the best places to come, and you can still feel the heritage of the people that they came here, and they are really loved by the Mexicans. All these people that came, so it's a good country.
Indeed, it's a fantastic country, and I should say that as revenge for the CIA's participation, the American players are already complaining that they don't have these cards.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Well, that's amazing because I remember that we came with the idea of doing those cards, and you were super fast and super. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. I remember the time when you came at Barcelona, DAO, signing games there 10 or 11 years ago. So, Jason, I think that for us, for Devir, we do both kind of games, a license and the own ones. But we feel you as a very connected author to our home. So, what are your memories from that time from DAO Barcelona and the Catalonian community?
Well, like Mexico, I found that the gamers in Barcelona were extraordinarily warm and extraordinarily social and engaged. And so I have nothing but amazing memories of that time. I also got to hang out. You had, like here, a number of extraordinarily prominent authors at DAO, and so I got to hang out with Frenchies and Italians and the rest of the gang. So it was terrific in that regard as well. I do remember being hungry all the time because we ate at 10 o'clock because it was Spain. But the food was amazing when I finally got it, so no complaints.
So all those years of Twilight Struggle and business and stuff, I think that you two got connected a bit more further than just being an author from a game of Devir. So how became your relation?
Well, he's into politics. I'm somehow into politics all the time, in terms not only politics but regarding the world and taking. You know the two old men of the Muppet Show.
Yes.
We are a bit like that. Have you seen Trump doing that? Yeah. And he's a communist almost. Huh? For me, he's a woke and a Democrat and this kind of stuff. He always says that I'm something that it's disappeared a long time ago, a Rockefeller Republican. So we are dinosaurs, okay? And dinosaurs like each other.
For sure. I mean, he is sort of, you couldn't have asked for a better tour guide of Spain, honestly, and all of its politics and all of its history. I remember when, I have told this story a bunch of times, but when we started to design Twilight Struggle, I had originally wanted to design a game about the Spanish Civil War. And when I started reading the history of the Spanish Civil War, I realized I could study it the rest of my life and not quite understand the politics. But if I had met him before I had designed that game, I could have gotten it done.
That was nice.
Yeah, talking about this kind of game, we released España 1936.
It's my favorite. To this day, I think it's the best game on the Spanish Civil War. I think because it's so elegant, so clever in the way it tries to simulate the limitations on the capacity of different factions in the Spanish Civil War to participate, by the counter set, which I'd never really seen before. Anyway, I got the chance to meet that designer while I was at Dow, and so I got to fanboy then.
Well, this is true that España 1936 was a game that we thought it was important to recover the not too difficult war games that a father can play with his daughter or whatever, and related with the Spanish Civil War, it was a good moment on those days. Now it's more tricky, but I agree on the design of Antonio that he has made. I think he was, I don't know, a genius or touched by the gods. He does one thing a bit like Herman does with For the People, that the chance to win the war, it's so historically well connected with the mechanic of the game.
Yeah.
Not pushing it hard.
Yes.
from the
rules. It's in the mechanics.
It's in the mechanics. So that's something that makes it very unique.
So we are not saying it, Jason is saying it. But
I owned that game before I knew any of you.
Yeah.
cool. But España is coming back. We are doing a re-release with a new shape, new rules and stuff. A refined version. I think maybe next year. So it's gonna be something. We are doing our own games for more time than people think, because España is from a long time ago. 2006. Yeah. You were talking about thematic, theme and mechanic. I know that they have been talking a lot about this off camera, and I would like to share a bit of these feelings, because nowadays we are a lot into Euro games because they are great games, but sometimes theme is not that connected to the mechanics, and war games work a different way. So what can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
Well, I think in the United States, there is an increasing trend, not amongst the casual hobbyists. They'll still be introduced by Catan or Carcassonne or any of those great European designs. But for experienced gamers, human beings, their minds are adapted to stories. We're adapted to learn by stories. And we remember things via stories. So a game that conveys a story is automatically more memorable than a game where there is no story. And so for me, I'm lazy. I don't have a good imagination. I just steal stories from history. There are enough good ones, not enough crazy ones. And so I think what we're seeing in the American hobby is that for very experienced gamers, they're moving away a bit from classical Euros and more towards historical gaming because that narrative element, that storytelling element is so prevalent there. And in other kinds of Euros, not quite so much.
Yes, the thing that we have been discussing these days is that I agree with that. I know I don't have the credibility in front of the Spanish audience because if a game does not have panzers, I don't like it. But no, that's a joke. You also told me one interesting thing yesterday, that it's important not to do the new invasion of Russia game or the new Battle of the Bulge or the new Pacific War or Waterloo or Gettysburg. There are a lot of things that they deserve to be taught and talked and to build storytelling around it.
Yes.
You came here and we're going to do that game. I don't know when or I don't know how, but it's going to do. I'm not so sure about the shores of Tripoli because these are the colonial fantasies in the brains of the fathers of the United States coming to my shores to kill my enemies, and I wonder why. But yes, he's absolutely right thematically, and there is one thing that Herman told us in our interview online that was fine, and it's true. I mean, all the bunch of dinosaurs that we are in the industry or in the clubs, etc. in Spain, most of us learned rather painting figures, reading military modeling, etc. to play war games with no idea of English, or to play D&D without only reading English. We were not able to talk, and we were not able to understand it. but we built up a hobby like that. So that means that people, when you want to do something, and if you love, for example, I don't know, Pacific War, it doesn't, or Atlantic Chase, for example, if you like the Sing the Bismarck or whatever, you will do all the efforts you need to understand the rules of the GMT game. And that's something that somehow when we are in the marketing side of the business, we think, no, let people start with Catan, but then go to Carcassonne. Now you are able to, no. It doesn't, it does not always work that way, I think.
That is the truth. As a matter of fact, I met a gamer here yesterday in Mexico City who said the only reason I'm at this convention is because of Twilight Struggle. And of course he was a foreign policy nerd. Mexico City, he's here because he likes government. Yeah. And so, we have games that are meant for those kinds of people, and they will, as you say, do what's necessary to figure them out.
So you think...
Even for you, huh?
Even for me? So you think we are like in a era, but those games are, I think, the most connected with war games in all time. We have a bit of a transition between them. Very good mechanics that we have seen in Euro games now are into war games, and everything like combines, and also the audience. A lot of people, for them, it's easier to get into war games and then ending playing ASL or not, I don't know. But do you think that this is changing?
I mean, no, thank heavens. All of my wargaming design friends in Washington, and we have for whatever reason, we have a bunch. Well, the Pentagon is there. That's why we have so many, I suppose. But we all play Euros. We all are looking for things to steal. You know, you play Carcassonne, and then you see this one mechanic, and you're like, that's Poland, 1936. I'm going to steal that for some other purpose. And I think to be a good designer in the modern times, you have to be open to all sorts of gaming in order to, find the state of the art and advance our part of the hobby as well. And so I'm excited to see both the graphic arts improve, the infinite amount, and the other thing, as Kim was mentioning, it's time for us to focus on conflicts that have been overlooked, because the hobby is diversifying also. So it's an international hobby now. Look at the number of Mexican players here today. 10 years ago, there weren't Mexican players, really. And their stories deserve to be told just as much as the U.S. Marine Corps' stories need to be told.
Well, in fact, we have a game that is a trap for Eurogamers, that is thematically, it's a war game, but the war gamers said, "Oh no, but I don't want to play that one because I got killed by the cubes," which is Polish. that if you want to make the transition from one side to the other, it's our trap. It will it will destroy your brain, and you won't be able to play any other thing.
So, well, for what you said, Jason, I think that you are planning maybe or inspiring yourself to do something about Mexican culture in the future.
Well, Fort Circle will have a game on the Mexican-American War next year. This time the Mexicans can win, so that's a win. I have personally been playing with a game on the French intervention in Mexico, which is one of Mexico's great victories at a very impressive event in Mexican history. Just because there's no good game on it. It's a super interesting story, and who doesn't want to beat the French?
I'm gonna give you a name, a title for that game. Okay. Should be Camarone. Not bad. And there is another thing that you should. I don't think you know, but I will explain it later.
Okay.
No, there is a long story between Jason and Devir and me that we have been almost 11 years talking about the game that he should do for us, and we have been. No, but never mind. Yeah, but never mind. Maybe we will do it when we both retire. Okay, but we have been shifting and switching and things. It's going to be number one on the BGG for sure, because only 11 years doing the brief and counter brief about the game, but you will like it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited about this project. It really was his idea, and it's really about the American experience, but it should be told because it's another piece of very creepy American history, sort of like Watergate, which is quite a good game actually. But yes, I am now actively reading, so I'm going to put something together.
Before I retire, at least.
This is a wet dream to have a Jason Matthews game from Devir. Well, I hope it happens. So, Kim, maybe you want to ask something special to Jason today?
Well, yes. How much should I push my Portuguese colleagues to make you come to LeiraCon?
Well, it's an open door. First of all, I want to go to Portugal. Second of all, they gave Ananda and I the national award for Imperial Struggle, so I owe them a trip. And who doesn't want to go to Portugal anyway? So yeah, it's not much of an ask.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Also, we have seen you here at Mega XP playing Twilight Struggle game that we're gonna release. I think that, well, when Xavi wants, because it has to be this year. Yeah. This like tiny version of Twilight Struggle. What can you tell to the viewers about this game?
Well, back to the theme of this conversation, there was a very obscure thing that happened at the end of the Cold War, which was Somalia invaded Ethiopia, and Ethiopia had a long-standing famous king, Haile Selassie. He's a religious figure in Jamaica, whatever. But as a result, all of a sudden, towards the end of the Cold War, the Soviet Union and the United States went crazy over those countries in the Horn of Africa because we were very concerned about the flow of oil, of course, from the Persian Gulf to Europe and the United States. And even today, headlines from East Africa and Ethiopia and Somalia and Eritrea, they're always terrible. And what I think most Americans don't know is that those headlines are the direct result of US and Soviet foreign policy in those areas, where we shoved tons and tons of weapons at very unstable countries in the first place. And those weapons have been used to destabilize those governments ever since. And, you know, it's a familiar, unpleasant story, but a lot of Americans aren't aware that, oh, that headline that is happening today, we have something to do with it. It's not just Africa. So there's that. And in addition, a lot of people own Twilight Struggle because of its reputation, but they can't get it down from the shelf, or they played it once or whatever. So this is not Twilight Struggle Light, because if you learn this game, you will know how to play Twilight Struggle. You can play the full game. But it is Twilight Struggle Short. So it's only 2 turns, and you can be done. It's a lunchtime series game in GMT's line, so you really can finish over lunch. And the cards are, you can take cards from this game and play them in Twilight Struggle, and Twilight Struggle cards and play them in this game, so they're compatible that way. And for the first time, there's a solo bot, so if you want to play in your garage or basement by yourself, you can.
So there's something else apart from Black Hawk Down. There is this.
Yes, exactly.
And also we're gonna release, I think, maybe together the year 0 or turn 0. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about it.
So Turn Zero was a project that when the Twilight Struggle app came out, we designed it to help with their campaign, Playdex campaign. It's a cute way to vary the startup. It's really more useful for people who play Twilight Struggle regularly. But if you are a dedicated player, it's a way to vary, not in a big way, but in kind of minor ways, the beginning turns of Twilight Struggle so that you have a different experience. I play it actually a ton on the app because it's available there as well. And I've learned to like playing that way better than I do base Twilight Struggle.
All dinosaurs of the hobby would remember Days of Decision to be played before.
Well,
But-
it's funny you say that. That is exactly the inspiration, Days of Decision.
Well, you know that. The Muppet Show.
Okay, guys. So I think that's it. It's been a great conversation. We have more things to enjoy here at Mexico. Jason, thank you very much for coming to Mega XP, for doing those cards and for doing those games. But you have homework.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for the amazing hospitality. It's so good to be able to see you in person again, because COVID and all the rest in between. So it has been, I love being part of the Devir family. You guys always take such good care of us. You send your royalty checks on time.
That's a good job.
And thank you for having me down here.
Thank you.
No, thank you, and Panthers rule, tío.
Ok. Nos vemos en el próximo vídeo de Devir TV. Adiós.